Hey everyone, it's Dataset and welcome once again to another exciting tutorial video. In my last video, I showed you how to use the if, ifs, and nested if functions and how to combine if with and to handle multiple conditions in Excel. I also shared the same dataset we worked with, so if you missed that video, check it out on my channel or click the link below to catch up. We use those functions to create the performance status, performance rating, bonus level, and bonus eligible fields. And those are exactly what we'll be using for today's tutorial. If you've already watched it, feel free to say hi in the comments. I would love to know my viewers. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to use the conditional aggregation functions COUNTIF and COUNTIFS to summarize our results and see insight like how many people fall into each performance or bonus category. We'll be using the COUNTIF function to find out how many people passed or failed, how many people fell into excellent, good, average, or poor performance categories, and also to check who got a high, medium, low, or no bonus. We'll also use COUNTIF to see how many people were eligible for bonuses and also not eligible for bonuses. Then we'll take it a step further with COUNTIF, which lets you check multiple conditions at once. For example, we'll look at those with high bonus who were eligible and not eligible, medium bonus with eligible and not eligible, low bonus with eligible and not eligible, and even no bonus with eligible and not eligible. Remember in the previous video, we noticed some cases where people were eligible for a bonus based on the conditions we set, but still ended up with no bonus. Doing these checks helps you spot these issues so you can make adjustments to your conditions and calculations. That way, when working with real-world data, everything stays accurate and nobody feels left out or unfairly cheated in this kind of scenario. Now moving on. We'll be using the same data set from my last video on the if functions. I've uploaded a version for this video too, but I left out the part we already completed using the if functions. That way, you can practice and get the same results yourself. If you haven't watched that video yet, no worries. You can check it out using the link below. Then come back here to follow along easily. Alright, let's jump right into COUNTIF. We'll start by checking how many people passed and how many people failed. You want to start with your equal to sign, then type COUNTIF. You can select the option as it pops up or type your open parentheses. You can see that we only have two arguments, which is the range and the criteria. For setting your criteria, there are two ways to do it. You can either type it in exactly as it appears in your result, or if your summary table already has the same word, you can simply select the cell from your summary table instead. We'll be using both methods in this tutorial, but I'll start by typing the result in Word as the criteria. Now your range. This is where you have your criteria result. For this, it is the column where we have the pass and fail result. I'll go ahead and select from the first result cell all the way down. Once you select your first cell, you can use the Ctrl plus Shift plus down arrow key to select your data down or any method convenient for you. Then type comma. Then move to your summary table. Once you move from one sheet to another while typing a formula, Excel likes to include the sheet name. I'll be removing this sheet name since I'm selecting from this sheet, which I'm on. That is my result sheet. Although you can leave it if you choose to, but I like to take it out. Next is the criteria, and I want to return pass. So in a double quotation mark, I'll type pass. You have to ensure that the way you type it is the same way it appears in your data set to avoid getting an error. Then close your parentheses and press enter on your keyboard. This returns the total number of people with pass. We'll do the same thing with the fail. Starting with the equal to sign, type COUNTIF, open parentheses. We'll move to the employee data to select our range. This time, I'll be selecting the entire column. You can do this if your data set is large and continuous. But if your data set is small or only covers a few rows, or if it's in a specific section with other tables, it's better to select just the rows you need instead of selecting the entire column. So I'll select the data from the first result cell to the last, then comma, then move to the summary sheet. I'll clear all of this and type in double quotation mark, then type fill, then enter. Here we have a total of 130 people who passed and 20 who failed. Our total number of data set is 150. So if you sum it up, it gives you the total. Next, we'll move to the second summary using COUNTIF. I'll be showing you a few different ways to select your data. So make sure you stick around to the end. You don't want to miss it. Start with the equal to sign, then type COUNTIF. Open your parentheses. For range, I'll go to the employee data sheet where I have my excellent result, which is in the performance rating column. I'll select from the first cell to the bottom. I'll put my comma. Then for the criteria, you want to make sure that what you type is exactly the way it is in your result. Now back to the summary sheet. I'll remove this again. So since what I have in my results column is exactly what I have in my summary sheet, I'll just select the cell for excellent rather than typing it. Now that I've selected the cell, it comes with a sheet name. Close the parentheses, then press enter on your keyboard. We'll repeat the same thing. Equal to COUNTIF, open parentheses, the range, back to employee data sheet, select the data range, then comma, select the cell good, then enter. For the next ones, we'll just copy and paste our formulas instead of typing them repeatedly since we've got a few to do. Now, when I copy this formula from the last result, you'll notice it's pulling data from H3 to H152 instead of H2 to H151. That's because we didn't lock our dataset range. To fix that, we'll use the $ before the column letter and row number. This keeps the range fixed when we copy the formula. We'll be locking from the first formula. We'll lock our data range H2 to H152. This is the only thing we'll be locking. We can lock the other cell, but we want that to change when we copy and paste. Now we are done. Then press enter. Next, we'll copy that, highlight the remaining cells, and paste. Easy peasy. Moving to the next one, we'll be starting with the equal to COUNTIF. Now the range. We'll be selecting where our high bonus is, which is the bonus level column. Like I said earlier, if you have a continuous data set like this one, you can select the entire column. I'll be doing just that. Then comma, then select our criteria cell, then enter. Now we'll copy and paste in the remaining cells. Here, our results are accurate and we don't need to lock the data range because we selected the entire column, so we'll be good. I'll quickly do a side-by-side comparison on the results using where we locked the formula cells. Now you can see that it returned the same as the first where we selected the entire column. Now I'll delete that. Moving to the last COUNTIF. As usual, we start with the equal to COUNTIF, select the range column, comma, then select the criteria cell, then enter. I'll just drag that down. I'll also quickly do a format on that. Now, we'll move to the COUNTIFs. Like I said earlier, COUNTIFs help you check multiple conditions at once, and it's perfect for this example. Let's get right into it. As usual, we'll start with our equal to, then COUNTIF, open parentheses. Here we can see that this requires multiple arguments with no restrictions. The first one is criteria range 1. We'll check for the high bonus. We'll select the first cell to the last cell, then comma. Next is your criteria, which is high bonus. So we'll select the cell, then comma. Next, we'll check for eligible for our second criteria range. So we'll select from the first cell to the bottom. Then for the criteria 2, we'll select the eligible cell, then enter. Now, I want to copy my formula, but I'll have to lock the range first. I'll be locking both data ranges for both criteria ranges. For the cells, I wouldn't lock the first cell because I want it to change down the cell. But for the eligible cell, I'll lock that because I want it to be the same. So I'll copy that and paste in the next cell. Now, we'll repeat all that again so you'll get it. Starting with the equal to, COUNTIF, select bonus level cell. from the first to the bottom, then comma, then select medium bonus, then comma, select eligible range, then comma, then select cell, then enter. You'll notice it's the same result as earlier. Now we'll go ahead again with the formula, but we'll be selecting the entire column this time and not the range cells. We'll go ahead with equal to count if, select bonus level column, then comma, then low bonus, then comma, criteria range 2, select the eligible column, comma, then eligible cell. I'll repeat the same process for the no bonus. Now for the last one, I'll also repeat the same process for the not eligible. I'll lock just the last cell, which is eligible, because I don't want it to change. Then I'll drag that down to the last cell. This is how you use your conditional aggregation COUNTIF and COUNTIFS function. I'll just add the sum of the results just for validation, ensuring that the sum is equal to the 150 rows that we have in our data set. I'll format that also using the format paint tool. I have a video on that. If you haven't watched it, please visit my channel to watch. Now we've come to the end of this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Thank you for staying with me till the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any of my tutorials. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.